The managing director of Arik, Chris Nduluel, is our guest. Do remember that Arik was on that route for about a year. Mr. Nduluel posits that local carriers must enjoy adequate support and protection from government to thrive when they operate both locally and internationally. He says the Gulf 3 are enjoying the support of their government, which is not wrong, but insists that back here at home, the bilateral air service agreements that Nigeria signs must favor the local carriers.
Obviously, we have been talking about multiple destinations. There's nowhere you want to develop your own carriers that you will also be giving other airlines multiple destinations, because that kind of limits the domestic market. And coupled with that is the fact that when you operate into Dubai, you have to get your catering from Emirates. You have to get your ground handlings from the airport authority, which is all of them owned by the same organization. And when you finish all this, you do not have control over the cost of these things. There are a lot of other things that they will tell you about the kind of amount of catering that you take and all that. So that increases your costs rapidly, and you are not in a position to manage this cost the way you would have preferred to manage. In Nigeria, for instance, foreign carriers come with catering. People come from all kinds of places, and then you also have ground handling. You have options of ground handling. So we don't have these restrictions here. And we also have not been able to look at domestic carriers and bring them into BASA agreements and make sure that their interests are protected. One of the cardinal principles of bilateral agreements is reciprocity. So what you give to me in your country, I give to you in my country. But when Delta stopped, they talked about unfair competition, and that's exactly what it is. And you find that even in Nigeria, yes, if we talk about unfair competition in Nigeria, we'll be saying that the foreign airlines are treated better than Nigerians. So we are the ones that should also complain about unfair competition. Part of the problem is that we're importing the fuel. So I think that if we begin to refine our products here, get aviation fuel from Nigeria, I think the prices will reduce. You know that on top of the fuel cost, we also pay fuel surcharge in Nigeria. So that's an addition to every liter of fuel that we buy here, of 2.50 Naira per liter. So, I think that as time goes on, we need to be able to look at this again. Do we want the airlines to continue to pay for this, or can we really make alternative arrangements for funding our airports, or for alternative ways of raising money? What they're thinking now is that all the funding has to come from the airlines. So everything is passed on to the airlines. And then the airlines are not in a position to pass every cost also to the passengers. So at the end of the day, you find that the airlines actually eventually bears the incidence of some of these taxes and charges. You find that we're basically operating on our own. Today there are not so many, there's not anything you can say that is coming directly from government as support for the airlines, or targeted at making sure that the airlines are able to operate. A lot of people have misconceptions about financing, about intervention funds, which actually never happened, because eventually what government did was to refinance some existing loans with the banks. So that was meant to reflate the banks and make sure that the banks become stronger and they can offload some of the facilities that they had and float that on a BOI. And what the airlines got was a reduced interest rate. That's one benefit that came from that, and that's like 3 years ago. From financing, that's a major one because it's a capital-intensive business. It will come from charges. We talk about, if we talk about Emirates, you find that they have a lot of, they almost have monopoly in so many other areas, including ground handling, including fueling, including catering. And all this put together enables them to operate profitably. And I think that in terms of financing, they also have a lot of relief in terms of being able to raise funds. And that's the kind of thing that is happening in Dubai can also happen here. We have a very large population to start with. So our own population is an advantage to start with. So added to that is the fact that we need to also begin to attract foreigners and tourists into Nigeria. If we put our minds to it and begin to develop it, you have to develop your tourism. But if we constantly don't believe in what we have or don't appreciate what we have, and all of us are constantly looking for where to go out and appreciate what others have. People go out and look for beaches outside Nigeria. And then Lagos is all beaches. So why is it that we don't appreciate the one that we have? This could be a tourist destination. We have all sorts of things in Nigeria, different kinds of vegetation, and there's nothing we don't have here. But we have to determine how to market ourselves. We have to appreciate our own first and give it a meaning and give it some relevance. But if we continue to think that we continue to look out to what others have and appreciate that, then everybody goes there while we talk down our own, and then we don't make the best of what we have.
Do share your thoughts about this subject with us via our feedback platform. Moving on, passengers advocate private participation to turn airport terminals around. That's after the break. Do join us again.